Nivens on the pole, Jackson to his outside. 2 Allen Autosports entries in row number 2 with the JCs, Newell and Morton. And it will be Cody Nivens who will lead us around for the start of our first A main of 2021. Nivens slow rolls it, nails it, and takes the green flag as he races along with Chris Jackson, and Jackson will jump out to the top spot right off the back, slide up the top of turn number 2, and get right back in the accelerator and work his way down the back stretch. Jackson in that 65 out of Lebanon, Missouri, so good for so long here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and he says so long to the field as he gets a great start here tonight.
3-car length advantage over Cody Nivens. Then it's the pair of JCs battling 3rd and 4th. Now JC Morton loses some positions as he will drop back to 5th, working on his outside. A good run by Nick Haynes, the wild child, as a big pile up and a car on its top over in turn 3. 7 cars.
And has told you and I both, Shane, in the pits time and time again, that being out front of a crowd like this means hitting all your marks and trying to make sure you don't make a mistake in front of a bunch of bad, fast race cars that will jump all over it. They go 3 wide behind the race leader as JC Newell goes to the top side, JC Morton to the bottom, and Nivens is nailed in the middle. He will back out of the gas as they work their way through turn number 4, and everybody continues to chase the 65 of Chris Jackson.
And very rarely, whenever Chris Jackson gets out in front, do you see his car go away. He's typically going to be about as consistent as any driver can be. Every once in a while, it'll happen to where cars are starting to catch up with him. And right now, JC Squared running 2nd and 3rd all have him in their crosshairs.
Terry Schultz, the man on the move in that big blue 90. The former modified driver now converting to a B mod up to 7th place. That car securely in the top 10 and continues his move toward the front. Meanwhile, everybody chasing Jackson. Morton now into the 2nd spot with JC at the bottom of the track. Normally that's the line that Chris Jackson runs, but he comes high off the top of turn number 2. Morton, Jackson work their way off of turn number 4. It was almost 0.6 of a second the last time by. Morton still about the same deficit, but he's got the preferred line, Shane.
And he's staying down on the low side. Whenever you see Chris start to apex that corner, he'll dive in, then drift up just as soon as he gets to the middle of that turn. Gets some traction up top, but JC Morton, a good turn that time, cuts the lead in half.
Down to 0.3 of a second as Morton in the 18 alongside the 65 of Jackson. Was a good move that time, and it looks like the 99T, the all-about pause ride of Eric Turner, pulls into the infield. And whatever JC Morton had gotten on that last circuit around, Shane, he gives right back as the lead goes beyond a half a second and trouble off of turn number 4, the win. As he works his way toward turn number 4. The tires put back where they belong. The bright orange cone awaits, and so does the green flag as Jackson jets out in front of Newell and Morton. 2 across now, 3 across further back in the field is Dayton Pursley, who won the B main. Able to shoot out from in between a couple of cars, including the B4 of Brayton Skaggs.
Good run off of turn 4 for JC Morton, and now he is the one trying to play Sherlock Holmes. Which groove is better? It's all just trying to find out which line you're going to be able to make ground up on Chris Jackson. He's having to go top shelf this time, and he is getting some great runs off of 4.
0.2 of a second, the difference between the 65 and the 18. Jackson notoriously likes to take the shortest distance around the track. That's at the bottom. Morton will go wherever the car will let him, and right now that is rolling around the high side here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks. He will be cut off with a good run off of turn number 4. He is pulled right up to the back of the 65 as JC Morton is looking to make it 2 in a row. He's already been out on more than a couple of nights racing here. Already has a big payday underneath his arm, and now he's setting Jackson up, pulls up right behind him again. He's getting a lot of run off of 4.
And now Chris Jackson goes up high. He's going to try to find that same momentum that Morton had. You get that feeling if J.C. Morton doesn't use his car up trying to get around Chris Jackson, he's going to give the 65 everything he wants in these closing laps.
Well, Nick Haynes right now is giving J.C. Newell everything he wants in a battle for third place as they are side by side down the back chute. The veteran Terry Schultz in the blue 90 following behind them. They have been side by side for what seems like the last 3 or 4 laps. Newell with the inside line, Haynes on the high side, and neither one of them giving up an inch of ground as J.C. Morton now sticks his nose in underneath the 65. Morton to the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Jackson on the high side should get the run, and he does, to hold on to the top spot here with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, again, if J.C. Morton doesn't get his tires too hot, continues to run that low line, I really got to think he's going to get the run he needs to take that top spot. Is he going to have enough room to pull off the slide job? That time he does.
Morton around the 65, and then the 65 gets into him and spins him. The 65 runs into the side of the 18. Morton backs into the wall, and it's another caution flag brought out here. The top 5 cars as we go back to green flag racing. Newell just punches it on the drop of the green flag and gets away from everybody, trying to give himself a ton of breathing room and see if J.C. Newell can run away and hide as they're racing side by side behind him for second with Cody Nivens and Nick Haynes. Nivens to the inside, Haynes on the high side with Terry Schultz running behind them in fourth. J.C. Newell will come to the flag stand now, and we've got 4 laps to go in this one.
Well, Cody Nivens was one of the fastest cars during the heat, and he has stayed right up there in the mix, but he is losing ground to J.C. Newell now that J.C. is able to just pick and choose his line with no real competition back behind him. He is on cruise control right now. Best finish that J.C. Newell had last year was 4th. He had 4 top 5s, finished 5th in the points, but could do no better whenever you have the Chris Jacksons and the J.C. Mortons of the world out in front of you. They took care of that all on their own as they got tangled up and sent to the back, and now J.C. Newell, only time will tell if he can grab his first feature win.
J.C. Newell won heat race number 4. Cody Nivens won the first heat race of the night for the Ozark Golf Cars USRA B mods. It'll be a 2-man race here under the flag stand one more time around. Don't know that there's enough real estate for Nick Haynes to get back into this one as he comes off the top of turn number 2. J.C. Newell, the 3rd generation driver with that Allen Autosports chassis and an Eagle engine, will race to the first checkered flag of 2021 here tonight in our A main. J.C. Newell, a race winner tonight here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Thank you. What a way to kick off the season. We kind of got that one handed to us tonight, but we got to watch a really good show for the first 14 or 15 laps there and was able to seal the deal.
Winless last year, finished in the top 10 every single race, 10 top 5s, but he could muster no better than second on 3 occasions. Can he beat that tonight in our season opener? He will press down on the loud pedal, get out to a 4-car length advantage as Penny and Will Vaught go side by side for second. Penny has the advantage on the top side as the cars split that moisture over there in turn 3. Vaught will get the advantage off of turn 4 as he takes that low line and cruises into second.
A battle of black and orange cars in second and third, and Crane, Missouri's Will Vaught able to clear Penny no problem, and now Dalton Emhoff has his mind set on trying to get around the 16 as well as they work their way under the flag stand. Chad Richwine behind him. That rounds out your top 5 as almost the entire field is running nose to tail except Dustin Walker in that 14W. Starts to get squirrely, goes up over the lip a little bit, and then is slowed down as he makes his way through 3 and 4.
And we talk about Dalton Emhoff, who has continued to get better, and we saw that a lot last year. Whenever he started running this late model, he was starting to click off faster and faster times as the season went along. As one car now goes to the top side over in turn number 4. That's John Willard out of Mound City, Kansas. His night is done. As now Dalton Emhoff, as we were talking about him, he moves to the inside, trying to get around Penny for third. He wants a podium finish here tonight.
That black diamond chassis has looked better as the night has gone on. Just 2 heat races earlier tonight to set the field for this one. Emhoff at the bottom of the track, Penny above him. And Emhoff slides his 96 up in front of the 16 of Penny and takes sole possession of that third spot. But it's kind of a 2-car breakaway, Shane, with the hammer Cole Hinson running right through the middle of the racetrack. And then Will Vaught trying his hand around the top of the racetrack through 1 and 2, and he's kind of a bottom feeder through 3 and 4, so trying a couple of different lines on either end of the track.
Yeah, it is a 2-car breakaway, but it has not been much of a fight until now, as Vaught goes a little higher on the track, and now he will cut into that lead that Cole Hinson had. They both go low in 3 and 4. He's going to make a run off of 4, try to pull up along side by side, then he'll cross over back behind him and go topside again.
Vaught just kind of searching for the line that'll get him around the racer from Russellville, Missouri, and he finds it this time at the bottom of the racetrack. They'll be side by side off of 4, but the momentum will keep the reigning champ out in front of this one as Cole Hinson in the 31C continuing to try and control this racetrack as we near the midway point. Hinson to the high side again. Vaught right around the bottom, but it's still a good run off the top of turn number 4 as we've got 10 laps in the books.
5/100ths of a second. The difference between first and second that time around, maybe even closer as Hinson tries to pinch down on Vaught. He does going into 3, then he'll lose all that position coming off of 4, and Vaught will take over the lead by a car length at the line. Does Cole Hinson have anything for Will Vaught as he tries to charge back underneath? You can see over in turn 3 starting to really blacken up as you go into 3 and 4. It stays that way all the way through 3 and 4, so these drivers starting to get a little higher, a little lower, trying to find any bit of moisture that they can to get that grip they need. Hinson starting to get higher and higher on the track. He's going to try to cool those tires down and make one more run at Will Vaught, but I think now, Corey, after Vaught has gotten around him, he's just going to start to check out on the rest of the field.
I'm afraid so. 7 laps to go. And Vaught, with that 72, just looking for the line that's comfortable right now. He's got that lead, Shane, already in short order out to 1.3 seconds. And it's Hinson who has to hustle here now to try and reel the 72 back in. Right now they're running just about the same line through 3 and 4, and that's not going to allow Cole to catch up much distance. He cut about 0.2 of a second off of the lead that time, as now there's 5 laps to go.
Will Vaught out of Crane, Missouri. Look back to last year. Had some good runs throughout the season, but only ran in a handful of races. Had a 5th place at Randolph County, ran 4th at Outlaw. He was here for the Show Me 100 and mustered only a 24th and an 18th place finish. So he made the show both times last year that they ran, but did no better than 18th. He comes in, gets some wheel time, and now he's starting to put cars a lap down as the Capital Kid Tucker Cox will be the next to go in line. Both he and Larry Jones stay low on the track, giving plenty of room to their race leader as Will Vaught will start to pick them off one by one as a car turns around over in turn 2.
With a small field, it's a golden opportunity for the 96.
And I'll talk about slowing the field down in 3 and 4. Will Vaught had him at a snail's pace before he does finally step down on the right pedal, and he is off to a 3-car length advantage. But Cole Hinson, how about that run off of turn 2 as he is able to stay right on the back bumper of Vaught. Off of turn 4, that is where Vaught starts to gap him a little bit as they go single file through the field until you get all the way back for a battle for 6th as the Capital Kid, Tucker Cox, lost it and got sideways all on his own, and now he is out of it as he drops all the way to the tailback. Vaught continuing to get higher and higher. You can see where that cushion is starting to form up at the top of the track. And now Tucker Cox will move to the inside. His night is done, as we've got 5 laps left, an extra 5 for an extra paycheck, $1,000 to win. And right now, Will Vaught is halfway to the pay window.
Hickamo Country Store chipping in the extra the extra money tonight to make it $1,000 payday for the drivers in the Missouri Metal Buildings ULMA late models tonight. Right now, it's a guy that we probably won't necessarily see all season long, leading the field by quite a bit. So it's now a 1.3 second advantage for Will Vaught over the defending track champ, the Hammer, Cole Hinson.
Yeah, you'll probably only see Will Vaught here maybe a couple more times if it's an MLRA or a Show Me 100 show. And he just continues to tear apart this field as he is now gapping Cole Hinson. It was a 2.5 lap last time. Now it's over 2 seconds.
And it was Cole's shot, Shane, was on that first lap after the restart. He got so close coming off of turn number 2. He was either going to get the move made before the completion of that lap, or what was going to happen is happening right now, which is a white flag lap and Vaught running away with it.
3/16 of a mile left for Will Vaught. As he's in turns 3 and 4, he comes into Lucas Oil Speedway and he'll grab the checkered flag on night 1 of the Big Adventure RV Weekly Racing Series. A win over Cole Hinson by nearly 3 seconds. Dalton Imhoff in third, and then Brian Penny. And a one-off race for him. He will.
That's for sure. I mean, he's Larry Moon and his brothers. They're great people. They bought this car from me a couple years ago, and it's a pleasure to drive it, because I drove this car and we won several races with it. But it's, like I said, it's an older car, but it's a dang good one. So to have all these crowds here tonight, first night of the year, it's pretty cool. And hopefully next weekend we'll get a couple of them too.
McCowan will be the pace setter as he rolls into turn number 4, puts his foot on the floor, and we go green flag racing side by side with Kevin Blackburn. Blackburn in that white 16, no sponsors anywhere on it, but that doesn't mean that race car isn't fast. And here he goes. He slides in front of McCowan. McCowan goes up the racetrack, and we are going back and forth here on lap number 1. Blackburn finds his way out in front as we've got 1 lap in the books.
I think you're going to see this a lot here tonight with these front-running cars, as they are just going to jockey back and forth as Terry Kirk goes to the inside over in turn number 1 and 2. He will cut through the grass and come to a stop in turn 2 as they continue to go back and forth up front.
McCowan trying to slide around the 16, drifts up the racetrack, and the 16 of Blackburn goes right back to it, sticks his nose right underneath the backside of the 8, and they will roll side by side off of turn number 4. McCowan, the man right now, still in front. And here's the 38C, the principal, Jason Pursley, jumping from 5th to 3rd.
Getting ready to say those top 2 running cars have just been going back and forth all over the track. The only guy running consistent laps up front is Jason Pursley. He stayed bottom of the track this entire time, goes from 5th up to 3rd, and now Evan Hubert in the number 9 will take a loop.
Was back. McCowan will mash down the go button one more time here. We get back to green flag racing with the principal behind him. Wolf and Reed tap momentarily. Robbie drops out of line and then stands on it, runs underneath the 21 TW of Tracy Wolf. 3 wide, further back on in the field as McCowan brings us back around again, almost 4 across now off of turn number 4.
Jason Pursley has not budged off of that bottom line. He has gone down low side of the track. McCowan, on the other hand, he gets higher and higher lap after lap. You look back at the resume of the principal, Jason Pursley, 6 top 10s last year. Best finish was 6th. Still was 5th in the points by the time it was all said and done. Ended a long dry spell as he had not won here for a couple of years. Finally picked up that elusive win at the end of the season back in 2019. And now he's fighting for a win early in the season in 2021.
He's just 0.2 of a second off the pace of Dylan McCowan. The youngster flies that number 8 around the top of the track one more time off the top of turn number 4 and underneath the flag stand with 7 laps of our 20 in the books. And Shane, Blackburn had been right up front in this one for the opening 5 laps. Didn't get a good restart now and can't seem to reel in Pursley and McCowan.
No, he has just lost some ground, and he is right now out of the picture. The chance you take if you're Dylan McCowan right now, running that high line the way you are around that cushion, all it takes is one bobble. You jump that cushion, your night's done. You're going to give up the lead to a guy that's just running consistent laps down on the inside. If you're Jason Pursley right now, you can't bank on Dylan making a mistake. You've got to find something different. You've got to get out from underneath that bottom line and look to make a run and get around the 8 somehow all on your own as we are halfway through.
Halfway home, 10 laps down, 10 laps to go with McCowan and Pursley pacing the field in this one. It looks like the 11C of Andy Christenberry is going to call it a night. That car goes back behind the wall. You talk about being up around the high side for McCowan and not being able to make a mistake with somebody as consistent as Jason Pursley chasing you. Shane, he is just the model of consistency. Second in points in 2017, fourth in 2018, second in 2019, and then a 5th place finish in the points last year was his worst of that 4-year run. He is just one of the best here consistently week in and week out, and he keeps creeping up on that 8. Now not even a car length separating them as they enter turn number 3.
And we see Ryan Middall, who finished second in the points last year. He calls it a night early as he has made his way back to the pit area. There's 3 cars that may play into this by the time it's all said and done. We've got 7 laps left, and they are starting to get up on lap traffic as Dylan McCowan continues to run on that high side. A good run by Pursley. Nearly gets alongside him off of 4.
Jason Pursley has just kind of slowly but surely, like a villain in like an 80s and 90s horror movie that always looks like it's working in slow motion while everybody's trying to run away and hide. He has pulled up alongside the race leader and takes it at the timing line. Pursley, by a nose, leads that lap as we've got 5 to go now.
But here is the problem. That lap traffic is in the line that Jason Pursley wants to be in and that he's been running every single lap. He's going to have to budge off of that line or hope that the cars in front of him will just get out of his way, and it ain't going to happen. That's where the lap traffic is going to cost him as he's going to lose some valuable track position once they catch up with the slower traffic.
And even worse, he just loses all that forward momentum as McCowan continues to cruise where he has been comfortable around the cushion since the start of this race. Since the start of it, or just 17 laps ago, and now Pursley finds himself 10 car lengths back as, again, McCowan goes to the high side, kicks up the loose dirt around to the top of the track, and races under the flag stand one more time.
Well, he is clicking off some perfect laps right now. He hasn't made any mistakes up on that high side. He's been able to avoid traffic, and now he will come off of turn 4 and see the white flag.
Dylan McCowan now with the country mile between he and Jason Pursley. What was a side-by-side race turns into a 2-second rout as McCowan has gotten out in front of the principal. And the young man who was a 2-time winner here last year will open up the season in victory lane here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. Dylan McCowan wins your Cedar Creek Beef Jerky USRA Modified A-Main.
Yeah, they got close there for a little while. I seen that lap traffic coming up and figured I could get him pinched maybe if he didn't get a slide job done on me. So we got it done tonight, first night here, and really kind of some of the first nights in our A-Mod, and it's rolling pretty good, and I'm very happy with it.
Brown won at Humboldt back just about a week or so ago. And as we are wheel to wheel, the green will come out, and we are underway for our final race of opening night here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Shooting the gap is Donaldson, working between 2 cars. He will move up to 3rd, and he is a man on a mission right now. He started in 6th, and he is going to fight for 2nd as he goes to the high side as Jalen Wettengale in that heat race that Jalen ran, did a great job to get to the front, but just did not have enough time. Now that he starts towards the front, as a caution will come out here where the car stopped over in turn number, make sure they're in line. No one gets off to a quick start. They see the orange cone in turn 4. That's when they're able to let loose, and they will fly off into turn number 1 with Wettengale in the middle of the track. Now that Donaldson's gotten through some traffic, he's going to make short work of Rob White Jr. going to the top side, trying to grab that second spot. White Jr. goes way down on the track, 3 wide off of turn 4 as a spinner over in turn 2, unable to get fired up. And I think as the season goes along and drivers get their cars ready for this event and this track and the season, I think you're going to see more cars as the season goes along.
I know Scott Johnson is one that has driven here for the last 3 or 4 years, as long as you and I have been coming to the track. And Scott's got a car now converted for a USRA stock car run, but needed like 1 more week to tinker with it. Didn't want to bring it out to the track until it was completely ready. So we'll probably see him next Friday and Saturday when the MLRA comes to town.
And this is starting to get fun up front as Donaldson now around White Jr. They will now go single file on the bottom side, 1, 2, 3. As Donaldson now right behind Wettengale. About a car length behind as they go into turns 1 and 2. Now getting up into the mix is Ed Griggs as a spinner, and Donaldson goes through all that work to get up to second. Green back in the air, and we are underway again, trying to get a couple of laps ticked off here without a caution flag. Now that Donaldson is out of the picture, Jalen Wettengale will set sail. A 3-car length advantage is now Griggs looking to the inside of White Jr. How about Derek Brown? He will go side by side with the Buckhorn Bullet. That's a fight for 5th. This is going to turn into a 3-wide battle in no time as Brown, the bottom feeder, down on the inside. A scrape of the wall over there on the back stretch for the 54, but he continues to run up top, trying to find a little bit of momentum as well.
It's not like there's a lot of aero involved in these USRA stock cars. You can beat and bang on the competition. You could bounce off the wall, and you can keep your foot on the floor and keep going, and that's exactly what the Buckhorn Bullet's doing right now as they go 3 wide, almost 4 wide off of turn number 4.
You know, the one thing that I will say about this division, we've been kind of comparing it with the street stocks from a year ago. These cars all stay grouped up. Yes, you might get 1 car out in front, but you see more side-by-side action, 3-wide battle, nose to tail, once you get deeper into a run with this class than you typically would with what we saw in that street stock division. Now, David Hendricks has worked his way up to 2nd. Derek Brown was fighting for a top 3 spot. And coming up into the mix, a new contender starting to make his voice heard as Tommy Ground in the 33 is up into the mix.
The 33T of Ground, just in that gaggle of cars, 4, 5 cars there, all trying to get around the car that is a little off the pace here and not quite at the same speed that everyone else is. And Shane, the one thing I wasn't expecting to see maybe in these stock cars is see somebody try and work the high line exclusively, and that is exactly what David Hendricks is doing. He's letting everybody else catfish around the bottom, and he is the first car behind your race leader willing to go up top, and that is giving him the opportunity here with Wettengale at the bottom of the racetrack.
Hendricks a little higher this time, and he has his nose chopped off there on the front stretch. Now Derek Brown gets into it, and a car slowed on the back stretch as Darren Phillips in the number 21 will up in that top spot, halfway home in this 20-lap feature for the O'Reilly Auto Parts stock cars. And the green in the air again. Hendricks likes that high line. He's going to stay there. Derek Brown, not only is he going to try to grab that top spot, but he's got 4 cars back behind him that are all right on him. One of those being the 33T of Thomas Ground, First Class Real Estate, and KC Tent Works. Main sponsors, he was finished 3rd in the points at Lakeside last year. This is only his third year in racing, and he leads that group of 5 cars in a battle for 4th.
Say crazy the way they're running around side by side. That 5-pack all trying to run around or through if they have to. That 33T Tommy Ground, the 541 Rob White Jr. to the inside of him, and surprising to see that 541 stuck back there in traffic. It seemed like every time he was out in front, nobody could catch him. But right now, he can't get it broken away from those other 4 cars to turn his attention to that 3-car pack that's out in front that includes Derek Brown and David Hendricks.
Well, Jalen Wettengell really has no fight coming up from behind him. Derek Brown starting to get a little bit closer, but Brown and Hendricks, they're just punching it out side by side. Now a little bit of a bobble from Wettengell's going to open the inside door and the outside door. Wettengell's going to go from first, maybe back to third, all in one lap due to just a little bit of a bobble over in turn number 2. And indeed they do, as Derek Brown grabs the top spot. Now here comes Hendricks. He will get around the slower lapped car in the middle of the track, then go right back to where he was before on the top side, trying to hang on to second as Wettengell fights back down on the low side.
It's hard to believe that 2 drivers that we saw, especially in the case of Derek Brown last year, Shane, enjoy so much success in a completely different division, say, you know what, this is what the track's going to, I'll go to it as well, and come out and look like they're going to enjoy success on opening night. Now is that 541, Rob White Jr. had been in that 5-car battle back for 4th. Now he's around Wettengell and will give David Hendricks a battle for 2nd.
They'll see 2 flags in the air this time by, representing 2 more laps to go for Derek Brown. Brown stays low on the track and has a good enough cushion now. It's just error-free racing from here on out for Derek Brown as he leads by 0.8 seconds over David Hendricks. But now Hendricks gives up the 2nd spot to Rob White Jr. Jr. with a slight advantage down the backstretch. Now Brown will bobble just a touch. He will lose some ground, but still with 1 lap to go should be enough for DB, the Lebanon or the Stoutland, Missouri native, who won here 6 times last year. Looks to pick up right where he left off a year ago. The street stock champ the final year. He was a street stock driver. Now he is going to lead the point standings with a win on week 1 here at Lucas Oil Speedway. A win by point.
Thank you. I'm really starting to like this car. This is my 4th race and 2nd win on it, so it's pretty salty too.